patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, full numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now live to Liberal Dan. Yo, who you gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic, he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation containment. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue of Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish-based laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolary, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water, they're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us flow. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, That's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right.
And welcome back to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. We may open up the phone lines in a little bit, but until then, if you want to leave your comments, questions, etc., just do so either in the liberaldanradio.com thread, which is the YouTube thread, or twitch.liberaldanradio.com, which is the Twitch channel, obviously. So welcome everyone who is here already, or will be over in Twitch land. Thank you so much for that. We got Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. Jeff from just north of your anus. Jackie, who else has popped in? Molly, it's a joy to see you. Alton Gillespie from the great state of Texas, against Steve from across the pond.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap.
We got the goddess Kimchi is in the chat, as well as Josh. So several of the J Squad. Oh look, when I gave away 5 free Liberal Dan Radio gift memberships, one of the people who got the membership is Impeccable Living.
Oh my.
Who we've not seen in a while, but shouts out to Impeccable Living. Wish you stop by at some point soon. A bunch of stuff to talk about today. One thing, I decided to weigh myself again over the weekend, or maybe it was Sunday at some point. I don't know. Sunday might have been this morning. Probably, maybe it might have been this morning. I don't know. I'm 3 pounds away from having lost 150 pounds since the start of my weight loss journey. So, feeling very happy about that. We will see how things progress over the course of the year. Hopefully, once physical therapy is over and I'm able to walk better, feel more confident walking out, longer distances, I'll start walking more, walking around the neighborhood, walking the dogs, etc. And hopefully, that will be the catalyst to cause even more pounds to shed off the body. So, thank you, Chad. Appreciate you. So let's see, what we're going to talk about first today. Let's talk, as one of the things I put up in the initial video or whatever is, excuse me, the initial, I guess, the screen that we're coming into the show was MAGA versus America First. And I think we might actually finally be starting to see some of the cracks form in that alliance. And you might think, well, isn't MAGA and America First the same thing? Well, you have the MAGA folks who are the Trump loyalists regardless of what he does. And then you have the American First, who are horrible people, because remember, the history of America First goes back to like World War II and American Nazis pushing the idea that we should only be supporting America and not having any intervention outside. But again, Trump campaigned on America First to try and get those people there. And there's a lot of overlap between America First and MAGA still at this point. But once we're seeing MTG 06B, who is now, I guess, no longer a congressperson, you see her turning against Trump. You see other people who are conservative who are saying, we didn't vote for this. Of course, a lot of them still say that we voted for this, even though, he campaigned, good word for me, he campaigned on no nation building.
We are not nation building again.
And so that's what they voted for, and then they'll find some way to excuse him now nation building in Venezuela. But there are others who I guess are more purists when it pertains to their America Firstness, who are now seeming to turn against him. Now, and this is driven home to me a little bit when I was on my way to physical therapy this morning, and I heard somebody call in, one of the regular callers to Jeff Carrera's Ringside Politics program on 990 AM or WGSO.com, and he brings us this week's Words of Redneck Wisdom, something we haven't done in a few weeks or so. So here is this week's Words of Redneck Wisdom.
And now, Words of Redneck Wisdom, brought to you by Liberal Dan Radio.
What about the tyrants that stole the 2020 election from the American people? What about the tyrants that locked Americans up in a gulag with no due process for 4 years? What about the tyrants that lied and swore the border was secure while the fentanyl, drugs, and people coming across like everything on national TV swore to Congress that the border was secure? What about the the tyrants who swore that the COVID vaccine was safe and effective? What about the tyrants that made people close their businesses during COVID? What about the tyrants that made us wear masks and stand 6 feet apart, told us we couldn't go to our loved ones' funerals, told us we couldn't be in the hospital when our loved ones died? What about the tyrants who, I'm getting tongue-tied, Jeff.
I hear you. I mean, I think you're.
They say that it takes time to build a case against these tyrants.
Yeah.
But has the Justice Department been working on the tyrants in Venezuela instead of the tyrants that got away with what they've done to America? But this is insane, Jeff. I don't know what this world is anymore. We are a cult. MAGA is a cult. What about America first? You go take care of clean up everybody else's problems except for America before you clean up America's problems. If that's not a globalist agenda, what is? Jeff?
So we have another. So in your view, Mr. Mark, we got another neocon in the White House.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
He's being controlled by neocons, Jeff. He's being controlled by the globalist elite, just like his administration. Marco Rubio, all of them, Cash Patel, all of them. They're not looking out for America's interest. We're wanting to I didn't vote to annex Greenland. I didn't vote to annex Venezuela. I didn't vote to annex Cuba. I voted for justice for the American people, for the tyrants that betrayed our country for 4 years, Jeff. When's that accountability going to happen? They stole it from him, supposedly. Supposedly he's not in on it. They're mocking us. Thank you.
And this concludes Words of Redneck Wisdom, brought to you by Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right.
And there you go. This week's Hypocrite of the Week. One of the callers, not Hypocrite of the Week, Words of Redneck Wisdom. I'm sorry. We'll get to Hypocrite of the Week in a second, because we have both today. We already, if you were live with us on Saturday's show, you know who the Hypocrite of the Week is, and well, you should figure out who the Hypocrite of the Week is anyway, because well, duh. But here's this week's Words of Redneck Wisdom, and he specifically said MAGA is a cult. Whatever happened to America first? So we are starting to see, somewhat at least, the cracks. Now, I don't know how much these cracks will cause some to split off. I don't know how many are going to split off. I don't know. It's very well possible that even though this person is mad about what's going on in MAGA and is, complaining that they're not doing America first, but Here it is. Normally, we've been hearing conservatives, whether it's ICE actions, whether it's what's going on in Venezuela, whatever Trump is doing, their response is always, well, I voted for this, yuck, yuck. But in reality, the cracks are showing. The people who really, pay attention and actually voted for Trump, not because they were, licking Trump's hindquarters, but voted for Trump because they actually supported the policies that he campaigned on, and then he's not doing what he campaigned on, and they're getting mad. So, again, how many of the entire Trump voting bloc are going to be splitting off from that group because they've become disenfranchised, because they understand that MAGA is a cult, and they're only backing Trump because Trump is their cult leader and not because, of any sort of meaningful policy whatsoever. But it's good to see. Like I said, I wanted to have a bag of popcorn. Couldn't really because I was driving when I was listening to it. But I really wanted to get a bag of popcorn and just sit there and just, while listening, just enjoying the popcorn, throwing all those kernels in my mouth, or at least a few kernels in my mouth until I get full. Or satisfied, I guess, because I'm not really eating till full these days. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and as soon as he said MAGA is a cult, I'm like, well, where's Redneck Wisdom? Right there. And because the first half, again, is the ridiculous. So the people in the gulags and the people who are being forced to have a mask and not see their family during COVID. I mean, yeah, clearly I disagree with this person on a lot of issues. But at least I can agree with him that MAGA is a cult. And even getting Jeff to at least ask whether or not Donald Trump is a so-called neocon. I mean, yeah, the guy used words like globalist, and we all know that when they say globalist, they mean Jews. And, but when he's going that the 2020 election was supposedly stolen from him and that supposedly Trump wasn't in on it, these people are some of them at least, are starting to recognize that they've been sold a bill of goods and that their hero is really more of a zero and more of the same old, same old. So, anyway, let's see. 250 Kilo Ohm says, I guess congressional approval on insurgency in Venezuela is a moot point because they rubber stamp anything Twilight Dawn wants. Yeah, unfortunately, simply because of the fact that, that's who he is. That's Donald Trump is, somebody who demands loyalty, and you don't have enough people challenging that demand. So they are just going to rubber stamp. They're going to not do their duty, to do due diligence, to be a check on the power of the presidency. But we've been seeing that forever now, so that's nothing new. 250 kilo. The Democratic Party is a big tent with many factions. Yes, it is. And unfortunately, we spend too much time fighting each other as opposed to fighting them. Like, one of the things that in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of or whatever, with my personal account, somebody asked a question, what would you like to see different from the Democratic Party? And I basically said three things, or it was two or three things, but basically the main points were, I would like to see the Democrats have more of a spine. That's one. So stand up to the GOP, stand up to the Republican Party, so we don't have things like we did during the government shutdown, and you had a bunch of idiots agree to reopen the government on some promise that you might get a vote at some point in time on healthcare subsidies. So that was stupid. That was showing a lack of a spine. You needed to stand up and fight for the American people, which sometimes includes doing things that might not be popular in the short term to make sure to save people in the long term. But the other two things I would like to see from the Democratic Party is I would like to see the centrists from the Democratic Party embrace and accept more people from the progressive left. Like, they do some, but too many people who are the centrists of the party buy the Republican BS that the way that we've gone too off the mainstream and that the only way that we can win elections is by moving towards the center. Now, why would the Republican Party tell us how we should win elections? They wouldn't. The Republican Party is going to laugh at us when we move to the center, and the people who have left because they are more concerned with enacting bigotry, racism, xenophobia, etc., than actually doing things good for the working class American people. If you moving more to the center or moving more away from the left is going to be more harmful. We will get more votes. We'll have more success if we as a whole move the party to the left, not reject LGBTQA rights, not reject abortion rights, not reject things that are seen as like 80-20 issues, because sometimes the 20 are also very important, and we need to do a better job explaining to the majority of the 80 that, hey, this is why these issues are important, and this is why they don't hurt you as much as the Republican Party tells you that they're going to hurt you. But the other side of the coin is that we need to have the people on the progressive left be more pragmatic as it pertains to individual particular elections. Yeah, Donald Trump did pardon Henry Cuellar. Yes, that pardon happened. And yes, Biden supported Cuellar against Cisneros in that particular election. But the thing, and a lot of progressive left type folks was very upset. Would I have preferred Cisneros in a vacuum, in a perfect world? Would I like to see Cisneros over Cuellar? Abso-frickin-lutely. But the problem is that Cisneros, as we've talked about in the show before, would not have won. Cuellar could win. If you put somebody who's too far to the left in a centrist-leaning district, especially with all the gerrymandering going on, you're going to end up with more losses. So while we need to move each district as far to the left as possible, in doing so, we also need to make sure that we put candidates in each district where those candidates can win, and don't just, not support people because they're to the right of us. If I've always voted for people who are my side or the left, I wouldn't have people to vote for, especially in Louisiana. But like in Louisiana, the only way to get a governor is to have a conservative Democrat run for governor. And we had him for 2 terms. So did I like John Bel Edwards' policies in some ways? Yes. In other ways, absolutely not. Did I like the fact that he signed that bill into law that banned abortions almost similarly to the Texas law? The only difference being how they worded when they can't happen to basically in Louisiana protect the morning after pill. I like that he protected the morning after pill, but everything else about that bill was garbage. But if we would have had a more conservative Jeff Landry type in office, or at the time it would have been Risponi was the fool who was running against him and who made the runoff, he would have signed the bill that would have been identical to Texas, which would have been even worse for people of the state of Louisiana. So that's what I would like to see from the Democratic Party. That's what I would like to see from that. I would like to see, again, an understanding that we should be moving as every district as far left as possible. We need to embrace LGBTQA rights. We need to embrace abortion rights. We need to embrace the working class. We need to embrace all of the people that make our tent big. But in doing so, we also need to understand that, we can't run to the right as a whole, but in some districts, we need to support people who might be a little more to the right than we might like in order to make sure that we win overall and we take back control of both houses of Congress to at least put a stopper to prevent the leaking of water that's happening. So, whatever. Anyway, let's see what else. Let's go back through the comments and discuss whatever. Remember when Republicans egg off Twitler? Hey, take off Twitler. I haven't seen you in a bit, I don't think. I remember when the Republicans claimed we would use the Iraqi oil to pay for the cost of their 20-year weapons of mass destruction invasion in 2002. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Exactly. Chad, honestly, I could spend 5 minutes finding 100 more people that are outspoken against the Democratic Party. It's actually the left that is cracked and in disarray. See, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that. I think it's different from that. Let's see, Agos Whitler, cheaper groceries and no new wars to deport migrant farm workers and tax imported food and invade Greenland, Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, just 1 year. It's hard to remember a year. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that took place over that year. So it's Aaron. Aaron is in the chat. Good to see you, Aaron. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. One half of the best mod squad on the planet. What else did I miss? So then have a C election in 6 months after they arrested Trump. They elected a convicted felon, and they're surprised that he lied to them. Yeah, pretty much, Christine. What kind of design are you crocheting in that blanket, Christine? Anything good? And Chad goes, nothing he's done so far surprises me. We know what he voted for. But again, Marjorie Taylor Greene disagrees with you. The guy who called in from Words of Redneck Wisdom, he disagrees with you. He voted for certain things, and Trump is doing the things that he didn't vote for, and some of these folks are complaining about it. Victor Harshman, as effed up as this shit is, these inept idiots will never succeed in their technate fever dream. Trump supporters are a cult. I know that for sure. Chad goes, Kimchi, you think the left is more united than the right in the current point in time? I don't necessarily know if the left is more united, except for the fact that we're united in opposition against Donald Trump, but sometimes that uniting sometimes falls apart. We'll see what happens in the 2026 elections. We're going to have to see how that goes down and to see just how united everyone on the left is. So, Chad goes, that's all the left agrees on. Orange Man bad. Well, Orange Man is bad. That's the problem. And Adolf Twitler responds right afterwards, what if Orange Man is actually bad? Because he is. It's a kaleidoscope. Ooh, I would definitely like to see a picture of that when you're done. Send me a picture. I'm Jay Daniel. Hello from Washington. I guess that gives away every other nation the right to arrest DJT, Whiskey Pete, or Little Marco now. Apparently. But we talked about that on Saturday's show. Probably the only reason why they wouldn't try and do that with us or to Israel or to perhaps any of the other nuclear powers is because there are nuclear powers and nobody wants to risk getting a nuke dropped on their head because you went and kidnapped, in their terms, their leader. Like, I'm not going to cry if somebody were to come in and invade Donald Trump, but if it was Putin, I wouldn't be happy with what the end result is, again, because the ends don't justify the means. Unfortunately, that's what they think that they do. I have to update this real quick because we're not at the hypocrite of the year at this point. We're at the hypocrite of the week. And let's go ahead and we'll just go ahead right now and play this week's hypocrite of the week in just a second once I pull it up and find it. There we go. This week's hypocrite of the week. Let's record it as well. This week's Hypocrite of the Week is the 2025 Hypocrite of the Year, Donald Trump. Donald Trump invaded Venezuela and arrested Nicolas Maduro for being a so-called narco-terrorist. President Biden went after so-called narco-terrorist from Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez. And what did Trump do? He pardoned him. But Hernandez wrote a letter that kissed Trump's ass, so maybe that's what Maduro needed to do as well. Oh, and Trump claimed that he wouldn't be nation-building, but yet here we are. To see who the next Hypocrite of the Week will be, tune in live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays to liberaldanradio.com at 8 p.m. Central for more Talk from the Left. That's right. There you go. This week's Hypocrite of the Week is last year's Hypocrite of the Year, Donald John Trump. Let's see. Bush Sr. took office with 5.4% unemployment, left Clinton with 7.3, who left Bush at 4.2, who left it for Obama at 7.8, who left it for Trump at 4.7. Trump left it at 6.4 for Biden, who gave it back to Trump at 4. 11 months later, it's now 4.6. See the pattern. Unfortunately, many of the people who are working class who are less concerned with their paychecks and are more concerned with Donald Trump enacting bigotry won't see the pattern. That's the unfortunate thing. Big hook. Change your constitution so that you can have a functional democracy that can't be hijacked by the billionaires and their political traitors. Be a novel concept. Maybe some sort of 1776 type thing. Yeah, one vision. The song is called "If I Had a Chicken," and I have to basically say that the hypocrite of the week or this music that I'm using is "If I Had a Chicken," because I have to give it credit in order to follow the rules on YouTube or whatever. But Back in the day, I used to, when I had Hypocrite of the Week, back when I was on Dan and Dave on the Air, Talk from the Left, that's right, we actually used Yakety Sax, the Benny Hill theme song, to do Hypocrite of the Week, but I wouldn't be able to do that as easily, so I had to go find a different version, and this, If I Had a Chicken, sounds close enough to me, or whatever. Let's see. Chad says, here's the thing, though, the interesting thing with what's going on in Venezuela is that you have people who they're doing exactly what we're saying, what we're talking about. Because their conservatives are basically like, oh, the Democrats support Maduro because they don't like what Trump did. No. Like, that's the problem when you live your life black and white, you know, in a binary, right or wrong. Like, there's no gray areas in your life. There's either one way or the other way, and there's no other ways. That's the problem with conservatism. One of the main problems with conservatism is they don't see nuance. They don't understand more complex things. Like, for example, that we can say that we disagree with the manner in which Donald Trump invaded Venezuela, that he should have gotten congressional oversight, that he should have gotten congressional input on the whole thing. He should have done a whole bunch of things differently. That doesn't mean that we like Maduro. It doesn't mean that we don't think Maduro should have to, you know, pay for any crimes that he did. No. It's fine to make criminals pay for what they did. Of course, we should be doing the same thing with our felons, our leaders, the people who are convicted of the 34 felons. You know, we allowed one back in the Oval Office, so the fact that now, you know, we're now going against, oh, he's a criminal. Well, so's our president, and he's still there in the office, at least until the blood clots take him away. But, yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Trump will put Don Jr. in charge of the Venezuelan coke trade. He'll skim some off the top, too. He'll take a little bit off the top, both from the supply side and from the net result side, right? Stealing a car is not the same as buying a car lawfully, which is what Trump did with Venezuela. Exactly. Again, Trump is like, oh, it's the drugs, it's the drugs, it's the drugs. And then he lied. If you watch the clips or just the whole show from Saturday, he lied about the facts about what drugs are coming out of Venezuela, how the Venezuela's what their role is in the global drug trade, and how many drugs come from Venezuela to this country. They don't come by sea, mostly. They mostly come by the land border between the United States and Mexico, and we don't know what's going on in the land, in the border between the United States and Mexico. At least that's my theory, that we really don't know what's going on there, again, because his ICE and Border Patrol agents are not operating on the border. They're operating in New Orleans. They're operating in Norfolk, Virginia. They're operating in San Francisco. They're operating in all sorts of other places, so they don't have the same manpower that one might have on the border to be able to detect people crossing the border. So, anyway. Good to see you, Dawn. Thank you for joining. What else did I miss? Did I miss anything? What did I miss? What did I miss? Anyway, so only idiots ever thought this was truly about drugs. We knew that no, but still, he was like, drugs, drugs, drugs. We're going to bomb drug boats. We're going to bomb more drug boats. And then when we bomb a drug boat and there are 2 survivors, we're going to murder them. And then he's like, oh, but we're taking the oil. And look, if you paid attention, if you watch Liberal Dan Radio Talk from the Left, That's Right, or if you've listened to Liberal Dan Radio Talk from the Left, That's Right, you would know that we've been criticizing Donald Trump and his foreign policy since the first election back in 2016, when he literally told us that we should have gone into the Middle East and go take their oil. So he told us that he was going to do this. And nobody should be surprised that he's going after the oil, because he's been saying that for years, for almost a decade at this point, that he wanted to go after the oil. Now, in this case, it was going after the Middle Eastern oil as compared to the oil in Venezuela. But still, he should have just not have said, oh, this is drugs, narco-terrorism. This has nothing to do with narco-terrorism. Donald Trump couldn't care less if Americans die from drugs. He could not care less if American citizens or other people who are living here died from drugs. He wouldn't care. He won't care at all. He doesn't have that emotion. He's not somebody who cares about anything except for himself. That's who Donald Trump is. That's what he's always been. And yeah, but it should absolutely be illegal, should be, a violation of international law for him to go into Venezuela and then go seize the oil. And I don't understand how any conservative can sit here and say, I support this, I support going in there and nation building, especially when he said...
We are not nation building again.
What was that?
We are not nation building again.
And look, I'm fully convinced that he, again, Hernandez was pardoned. Why? Because Trump got a nice little kiss your ass letter from Hernandez. Had Maduro kissed his ass, I'm sure he would have been, ignored as well. The crimes would have been ignored. But I'm sure had Biden pardoned or actually arrested Maduro, I'm sure Donald Trump would have then pardoned Maduro because Trump is more concerned with undoing what Biden does than actually getting good things done. But had Biden gone and invaded Venezuela and said we were going to take the oil and said that we were going to be nation building, well...
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Yes, and I did see that what you had said there, Church at Every Game, and that was specifically done for your benefit. And mine too, because I think that is still currently my favorite song of all the songs that I've made. I do actually sing the one that Demonox made, the Ghostbusters theme one as well every once in a while. 250 Kiloohm says, narcoleptic terrorist. That's awesome. And Moon Girl, sea drugs and land drugs. Yes, exactly. And we have more land drugs than sea drugs. Josh Sees goes, oh yeah, Yakety Sax 1963 going to be a bit before public domain. Exactly. And even if I found a way to be able to do it, to be able to do like a radio show and be able to play the Yakety Sax, I still couldn't play it on here because then YouTube would take the money because I used their somebody else's copyrighted content. And while usually it's fine and I would be able to do it, I would just lose the revenue from the show. So that Chad, that's also good. Narco Rubio. That makes me mad that I didn't think of it first. Let's say true statement. Neither the Republicans or Donald Trump can build, they only destroy. Pretty much. But one of the other things I wanted to talk about today, on top of the whole thing pertaining to all of this narco-terrorist BS and the hypocrisy of Trump pardoning Juan Orlando Hernandez from Honduras, but going and arresting the supposed narco-terrorist Maduro. I mean, I shouldn't say supposed. I guess I should say alleged or accused, because he's now indicted and now he's going through his trial, and everybody who is on trial is innocent until proven guilty, at least in the court of law. So, but people who are finding out. Jessica Djukanovic is an individual who is a conservative Christian and a very vocal conservative Christian who was pregnant. She was pregnant, and she was having some problems with her pregnancy. Let's talk. Let's see what she has to say about the issues that she was going through, and make some commentary on that as we're going through it, shall we?
Iowa, mother of 4. I voted conservative. The craziest thing has happened to me a few weeks.
The craziest thing? Oh my God, what could have possibly happened to you? You voted conservative as a mother of 4. What could have possibly happened to you that, would make you have to cry?
Ago, and I really feel the need to share it from the position of a very pissed off conservative Christian woman.
Very pissed off conservative Christian woman, mind you. She's not just pissed off, she's very pissed off. What are you pissed about? What are you pissed about? Why are you mad?
I almost died. I almost died because
She almost died. Oh no. What? That's terrible. How did you almost die?
I was denied medical care.
You were denied medical care. That's impossible. Why would you be denied medical care in this great country that we live in under Donald John Trump? You know, how could you possibly be denied health care?
Here in Iowa, after being diagnosed with a fatal fetus. So my baby...
A fatal fetus! That sounds like it should be something like in a... And welcome to the fatal fetus! It's like a wrestling move or something that happens. Or, you know, some other thing. But yeah, she had a fatal fetus. I.e., her fetus was not going to survive.
Was not going to make it. There was
Not going to make
no
it.
chance of it. We got
No chance of the fetus making it.
multiple opinions. No,
Multiple doctors told her that the fetus was not going to make it.
no chance. No chance.
No chance in hell.
Shortly after that, my health started to rapidly decline.
Imagine that. You have a fetus that's dying in your body, and all of a sudden, things start happening that's bad in your body. So why would doctors be prevented from helping you out?
And I was not able to seek care in a timely manner or near.
Seek care. Use your words. How about get an abortion? You were unable to get an abortion for your failing pregnancy, for the fetus that was going to die, because you voted as a conservative for those types of laws to be passed. You spent your life, I'm sure, arguing for anti-abortion laws, supporting bullshit. I'm sure you were campaigning for this law as well. I'm sure you had no idea in your tiny little brain that this could have happened to anybody, let alone to you. So you went ahead and were supportive. Now look, if she actually opposed that law, I welcome her to come on the show and tell me that I'm wrong. If somebody has information to tell me that she actually was vocal against these types of bans that would prevent somebody from saving their own damn lives, then please tell me. But as of right now, I'm going to operate under the assumption that this idiot voted for these types of laws because she didn't realize that it could hurt her, and she might find out one day. Well, welcome, you found out. And what I would say is that the only people that I want this happening to are the people that voted for it, and I honestly, she's lucky that it didn't get worse for her.
Really at all. I was told to miscarry at home or wait it out or ask Google what to do when I asked where could I go for a resolution to my problem. So I had...
Maybe you should have asked Google what to do when it came to voting to understand that your dumbass might have a problem if your attempt to have a fifth child went awry.
had a fetus in me that's poisoning me from the inside out.
Oh no, the fetus is poisoning you. Oh no, did you cry when it happened to Kate Cox in Texas? Did you speak out then? Did you tell the world how it was terrible what Texas was doing to Kate Cox and to all the other people who are pregnant, who are suffering during miscarriages that don't happen instantly and as such put your own body at risk? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't.
I have 3 healthy, lovely children at home, a business to run, a husband.
Oh no, you have 3 healthy children and a business to run. Oh no, what are you going to do? Did you think about the people who have children at home who have businesses to run, who, you know, might have to also deal with these laws before these laws got passed? No, I bet you didn't, because hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. And the only reason you're complaining right now is that it happened to you. If it didn't happen to you, you'd probably just go whining that these, all these women on the left are trying to kill their babies. But now it happened to you, and guess what? You're crying like an asshole that you are because you supported this shit up until the point that it hurt you.
And I'm not allowed to choose me?
Nope, you're not allowed to choose you because that's what you voted for. That's what all of these conservatives voted for. They voted for laws that basically force somebody to wait till they're on death's door in order to be able to take advantage of the loopholes in the law that are so narrowly constrained. Like in Texas, for example, you had an example where somebody was literally almost in sepsis, and you have to wait for the sepsis to happen. You couldn't listen to a doctor and say, if you allow this pregnancy to continue, you're going to risk sepsis and this person's going to risk death. Nope, that's not how these laws are written. These laws are basically written in such a way that you have to be on death's door before the doctors are allowed to operate. And again, I bet you were silent on the whole thing until it happened to you. Let's continue.
Where's the pro-life in that?
Exactly, you dummy. Where's the pro-life in forcing people to die because they're dealing with sepsis? They're dealing with pregnancies, or they don't want to have to risk sepsis in a doomed pregnancy to begin with.
Life, like, choose me, choose the mother. We're completely forgetting the mother in this situation.
Y'all completely forgot the mother. Y'all completely forgot the patient who is gestating and having a risky pregnancy that is putting their health and their lives at risk. We've been talking about the parents, the people who gestate. We've been talking about that since well before Roe v. Wade got overturned, because we've been warning y'all that if Roe v. Wade ever got overturned, guess what was going to happen? People were going to die because they couldn't get the health care that they needed to protect their own lives when their bodies were trying to kill them with harmful pregnancies. And you're going to sit here and just now magically come to the realization that these laws are abhorrent and draconian because that hurt you and not everybody else. This is why I don't think that change is going to happen in this country until Donald Trump causes more harm to more of his MAGA supporters, because only when bad things happen to them will they start being, oh, maybe this guy isn't as great as we thought he was. Only harm happening to them will get them to leave the cult. And even then, I question if they'll actually leave the cult, because the harm that they suffer from, sometimes they view as worth it as long as other people are being harmed more. Let's continue.
At no point should a dying fetus have more precedence in a healthcare system over a healthy mother who's contributing positively to society.
I don't even care if they're contributing positively to society. Nobody should have to die because of their pregnancy. Not one person should have to die. And if it's obvious that the pregnancy is failing, the person should be able to remove the fetus or embryo or whatever. They should be able to terminate the pregnancy. They should be able to obtain an abortion and not have to wait it out and risk death because you somehow magically think that this dying fetus is somehow going to magically get better all of a sudden and be able to be delivered at the end of the term. This is what y'all voted for. Yeah, you have your hand on your hand over your face. You're doing a face palm because now you've realized what happens when you give conservatives this much power over your body.
My God, please help us. This is not what we voted for, you guys.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely what you voted for. Shut the fuck up. You absolutely voted for this bullshit when you voted for Trump, because people like myself, like Hal Sparks and others, have been saying for years, even before Trump got to name his 3 Supreme Court justices, that if Trump got into office that first term, he would get to name 3 Supreme Court justices. And once he got to do that, abortion rights would go away. It would not be protected nationwide. And these conservative states would be able to put in these draconian abortion laws that will threaten the lives of people who are pregnant, whose pregnancies are at risk. You absolutely voted for this, and you have to realize that you voted for this, because that's the only way that the actual change is going to happen, because you have to take personal responsibility for your own actions, including personal responsibility for your own voting. And I don't want to hear pro-life people going, oh, if she took responsibility for her actions, she wouldn't get an abortion in the first place. No, fuck you. She was dying and should have been able to get an abortion the moment her doctor said the fetus was no longer going to be viable. But don't for a minute believe here and try and gaslight us and try and tell us that you didn't vote for this. You absolutely fucking voted for this. 100% you voted for. You might not have realized you voted for this because you weren't paying attention and you're a stupid motherfucker, but you voted for it because these are the policies that we were being told were going to be passed once it happened. We warned you and y'all wouldn't listen because, oh, it's the left. It's the loony left trying to murder babies. Shut up.
This is not it. Doctors should not be afraid to do their job, and that is the.
Well, if they're going to be put in prison because they do their job, if they're going to be fired because they do their job, they have to make that choice. You voted for this. Conservatism as a whole voted for this. I wish it happens to more conservatives so that more conservatives can find out why their votes were fucking stupid.
Case here in Iowa. It's not that they don't want to help us. It's that they are afraid to do their job.
Because you elected politicians who made them afraid to do their job. If you would have elected politicians with half a brain and a quarter of a heart, they might have actually realized that, oh, maybe passing these types of laws is a stupid thing to do. Or maybe you should have realized as a voter that electing these type of politicians is also a stupid thing to do. You put your life in the hands of politicians instead of doctors. Don't come crying to us now because the politicians told the doctors, fuck you. Right?
And save our lives. Politics and religion have no place in healthcare. They have no place.
Now, just the irony here. Yeah, we've been saying that for fucking ever. Politics and religion have no business in healthcare, but y'all conservative Christians are the ones who are forcing politics and religion to be involved in healthcare. It's y'all who did this. Wake the fuck up. If you haven't realized that it's y'all that did this, you're too stupid. I don't even know how you operate a computer to be able to make a video or operate your phone to make a video. How is it possible that you were able to do all these things and not realize how stupid you are for voting this? One Vision, how do you really feel about it? Oh, I could probably say much worse words.
On my body, on my health.
My wife almost died last week. I'm a legal immigrant, resident, and future citizen, and I live in...
Oh, what? Just you wait. You are now being critical of the conservatives who made rules about your abortion. So you might very well lose that line and not get naturalized because that's what this administration is doing. Now, usually it's happening to more people who have darker complexion than you, so you might not have as much to worry about. But then again, there are some people who are being spotlighted who absolutely are losing their spaces in line, who are being deported, who are not being allowed to be naturalized, yada, yada, yada. And guess what? Your wife voted for this. Maybe you didn't vote for it because you're not a citizen, but your wife voted for it.
In Des Moines, Iowa. I come from a very religious, even conservative and traditional country, but we were wronged here by the medical system.
No. You were not wronged by the medical system. You were wronged by the politicians, the conservative politicians that your wife voted for. The conservative politicians who, everybody else who I'm sure you're hanging around with and pal around with, whatever, that's what they voted for. You voted for conservative politicians. I guess this individual didn't. I'm assuming not, because not a citizen, can't vote. But, when every conservative accusation is a confession, who the hell knows? Maybe he did. I don't know. What I do know is that it's not the medical system that did this to you. It's the political system that did this to you. It's conservative Christians who did this to you.
Influenced by the politicians.
But not influenced by it's not influenced by the politicians. It's forced by the politicians. Their hands are forced. The medical community is prohibited in these red states that have passed these draconian abortion laws. They are prohibited from taking action to allow you to save your wife's life. It's not the medical industry that's doing it. It's the politicians. It's the conservative politicians who are doing it.
He was dying. There was no hope. The logical step would have been to terminate the pregnancy to save my wife's life.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been the logical thing to do. The logical thing to do before that was not voting for the politicians who we told you would be doing this. And it happened. You fucked around. You found out.
Doctors, out of fear of getting sued, refused that, influenced by the politicians and propaganda. I had to rush her to the hospital, in which it took 2 hours for us just to see the doctor after she experienced hard chest pains and could barely walk. We didn't.
Oh, and she could barely walk. How many tears am I supposed to shed for this person? No, I fully believe that she should have the legal right to do this. I fully believe that she should have the legal right to save her own life, to save her health, to protect herself from a pregnancy that was clearly not going to last and that was probably going to kill her. But, let's continue.
Didn't even get to grieve our own baby because we had to fight for the life of my wife. And we had to fight on our own because doctors weren't even allowed to tell us what to do, where to go. I really hope that...
Yeah, that's what some of these laws do. It's not just the fact that they can't perform the procedures. They can't even tell you what to do and how to rectify the situation. Because they put this whole, we care about the babies. We care about the babies so much, but they don't give a shit about y'all. They only want you to be gestation. They only want you to be baby incubators. That's what they want. They want you to be baby incubators. So they want, your wife to be, obviously he can't be a baby incubator, but they wanted his wife to be one and other women.
No other family doesn't have to go through anything that we went through. So that's why I want to send a message to anyone listening that we need to stand up for what is right. I have 2 kids with my wife. She has 4 kids altogether. All of those kids would have been heartbroken. Her lives would have been changed forever if my wife got sepsis and died because doctors refused to treat her.
And look, I'm going to say this again. It's not the doctors that refused to treat her. It's that doctors were prevented from treating her because the politicians refused to allow the doctors to be able to make the decision that they were trained to make when they became doctors in the first place. And people with no medical backing, with no medical background, with a horrible understanding of science are sitting here passing these dumbass laws that are putting people at risk, putting their lives, putting their health at risk.
Terminate a baby in pregnancy that was gonna die 100%. We prayed, we did everything right. We are healthy people, but yet we were cornered by the medical system and we were cornered by the government.
No, you were only cornered by the government. The medical system was also cornered by the government. But don't try and push this off on doctors. Doctors wanted to help you, but were unable to do so. And that's what y'all need to realize. Y'all need to realize what the actual problem was. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish you would have died, but y'all have now found out. You have now found out what happens when you support these type of policies. Now, is this woman going to continue to be a conservative voter now that conservative politicians have basically forced her to risk death? If this person continues to vote for Republicans, continues to vote for Christian conservatives, continues to vote for the same sort of policies that caused her to risk her life in the first place, guess what? I will look her right in the eye and say, you are a dumbass because you haven't learned. They might have found out, but they still won't have learned. So one could only hope that this person is now going to come out and say, hey, maybe we should change who we support because these are the policies of the American Christian right-wing political party that is MAGA, GOP, etc. But I have no faith that they will actually learn the lesson here, that they need to change up who they're voting for because who they're voting for are the only people that caused this problem for you and your wife and for the other people who are also dealing with these toxic pregnancies that put many people's lives at risk, and now in these red states they're unable to act on them because, well, we're run by idiot conservative politicians.
Care shouldn't be political. Once human lives are in danger, just how my wife's life was in danger, politics needs to stay out.
I can agree with you 100% on that one. I will agree absolutely 100% that the politicians need to stay the fuck out of the healthcare. That the doctors should be allowed to do their jobs. But let's put y'all's money where your mouth is. Go out there and campaign for and advocate for politicians who are going to overturn these dumbass laws. Are you going to do it? I'm not holding my breath. What do you think? Do you believe that, what do you think it's going to take for more conservatives to come out and, you know, say, oh, maybe these laws were a bad idea? Is it going to take them seeing other conservatives coming out and saying, oh, it happened to me too, it's wrong? Or is it going to take it happening to more conservatives for them to wake the fuck up? Leave your comments below. Remember to like, share, subscribe. And of course, as always, unless you support these draconian abortion laws, have a good day. And if you're new to the show, that sometimes I will record live bits, and I'm not ending the show right now by any stretch of the imagination, but I will record these live bits and record. I do it much less often now because I have the Opus Clip tool. I shared a video on that. If you are a somebody who's also trying to earn money online, create content or whatever, and you want to be able to clip these items very easily, I have the link in the Opus Clip video. I started a new playlist, Liberal Dan Radio Recommends, and the first one is the Opus Clips. You can click on that link. You could use that Opus Clip to be able to create these clips or whatever, to be able to make... It's made my job a lot easier. And if you watch that video, you will see that I went from like 5,000 views a month to now 47,000 views per month, simply in 1 month, simply by using this tool and being able to more easily create these clips. But if you know other people who are creators, you know, pass my link over to them as well. It'll help the show out as well, because I'll actually make a little bit of money on that too. So let's see. Let's go back through what Atrocious at Every Game says. I was planning to farm it. It's so easy because Trump keeps doing stupid and dangerous shit. By the way, Liberal Dan, do you think you would be able to bring Hunter Biden on as a guest? I would love to bring Hunter Biden on as a guest. Will I be able to? I don't know. We'll see. So far, I've had Hal. I've had John Fugelsang. I've had some other people who are not as famous as those two. But we will see. If, you know, I'd love to be able to, because look, I'd love to be able to even just use my grandparents' card, because my grandparents worked on his initial campaign. They might have even known Hunter. So I don't know if my grandparents knew Hunter, but they didn't really speak about his kids much. They did speak about Joe Biden a lot because they really did like him, being from Delaware and everything. But, you know, if I could get him on, I would definitely like to have that conversation. Trish Certificate also says this type of thing tragically happens to women every day. It's devastating, and it's the reason women should have the right to choose. Also, Jesus never condemned abortion ever. Exactly. We talked about that when Fugelsang was on the show. If you want to buy John Fugelsang's book, the link is in the show description. It's almost like when Trump said he supported an exception from the mother's life is in danger was completely vapid because he was letting states do whatever draconian shit they want. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. All of this sounds like stuff Kamala Harris ran on last November. You're overstating the importance of SCOTUS in voting for HRC. Barana Joy Gray, now in a deleted tweet from 2016. Somehow she still has a Patreon. If you're unborn, you're fine. If you're born, you're fucked. Pretty much. Jeff Curry goes, had Big Hook too as a guest. I mean, yeah, a caller, I would say. I mean, yeah, Big Hook's probably been on my show more than anybody else at this point. So, Tim, I mean, Bad Bunny speaks English. I mean, I would love to. I mean, if I could get Bad Bunny on the show, I mean, that would do me wonders to try and get more subscribers, guaranteed. But there you go. So hey, Sin City, Nevada, is that Chuck or John? That's Sin City, Nevada, or is that somebody else? And let's see. Let's scroll back to see if there's anything that we missed. See, I got hit by it, Liberal Dan Radio. The pill keeping me alive went from free to $3,000 a month. Luckily, I found it in Canada for $300. Interesting. Let's see. How many women do you want to sacrifice, and what does that have to do with MAGA and this idiot voting against her best interests? How many lives have been... I mean, how many lives have to be lost versus how many lives have to be risked to be lost? That's my question I would have for you. How many times does it have to happen for you to be like, oh, these laws are terrible and need to change? I mean, Kate Cox, one example. We had the case of the young woman in Georgia that I made the baby incubator song about, where she was forced to, you know, stay on life support in order to continue to gestate a child that she was never going to see and then potentially would have health risks. So, I mean, we could always search the web for that to see if we have an answer on that. How many women have died because of the new abortion laws? Studies have showed an increased maternal mortality and pregnancy-related deaths in states with bans. One report finding that nearly 59 excess pregnancy-associated deaths and over 220,000 additional births in 14 banned states by mid-2022, while others highlight significantly higher maternal death rates in these states, especially for black women, with projections suggesting that thousands more deaths nationally under a total ban. Specific cases of women dying from sepsis or delayed care to legal confusion are documented. So let's see here. Let's see, in the wake of overturn, this is from prb.org. In the wake of overturn of Roe v. Wade, states with abortion bans have seen over 22,000 additional births, 478 excess infant deaths, and 59 excess pregnancy-associated deaths. These were among the findings shared at a June 9th symposium on health impact of abortion bans, co-sponsored by the Hopkins Population Center and the William H. Gates Institute for Population and Reproductive Health. Researchers, medical providers, legislators, and journalists came together in D.C. to talk about the new research, share experiences, yada, yada, yada. Notably, Texas saw a 50% jump in the sepsis rate among women who lost their pregnancies in the second trimester. Sepsis is a life-threatening condition caused by the body's extreme reaction to infection. Black infants were severely affected, with mortality rates 11% above expected levels when medical care meets legal uncertainty. 3 years post-Dobbs, researchers are documenting the health consequences of abortion bans across America. The effects extend beyond access to abortion itself. The bans have reshaped how doctors practice medicine during pregnancy emergencies. The moment reshaped access to abortion across the country and introduced new barriers for patients, providers, and health systems alike. And critically, it raised urgent questions about the health consequences of these changes. In states with abortion laws, legal gray areas around medical exceptions and treatment for miscarriages have created a patchwork of inconsistent care, where patients in similar situations can receive different treatment depending on their hospital's legal interpretation. For example, when miscarriage is imminent but clinicians can still detect a heartbeat, they may deny necessary care until no heartbeat can be detected, which is what happened in the case of Kate Cox. Physicians have also been reported to force delay life-saving care for high-risk patients until they become critically ill, as we described on this show when discussing what the law requires and what the law allows and what it doesn't allow. Stakes for life and death in one high-profile case. Josely Barnica, a 28-year-old mother from Honduras, waited 40 hours in a Texas hospital while doctors monitored her fetal heartbeat during an inevitable miscarriage at 17 weeks. Despite wanting to terminate the pregnancy to prevent infection, Barnica was told it would be a crime. She died of sepsis with retained products of conception 2 days after finally delivering. This isn't an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern documented through investigative journalism, statistical analysis, and clinician interviews. According to Society's Family Planning Week Count Project, the number of monthly abortions provided in the formal healthcare system dropped in the immediate aftermath of Dobbs, before rebounding and eventually surpassing numbers before the decision. However, this data does not capture how many individuals were unable to obtain an abortion in states that implemented bans, nor does it show the impacts of these bans on health outcomes. ProPublica's analysis of Texas hospital billing data revealed a 50% increase in sepsis rates during second trimester hospitalizations after the 6-week abortion ban took place in 2021. The increase was even more pronounced, 61%, among patients who didn't have documented fetal demise at admission, suggesting doctors may have been waiting for fetal heartbeats to stop before intervening, despite near certainty that the pregnancies were no longer viable or endangered the health of the mother. Regional differences within Texas showed how hospital policies affect outcomes. Infant deaths in the wake of Dobbs. States have also seen excess infant deaths. Infant mortality rates increased 5.6% above expected levels in states with abortion bans, translating to 478 additional deaths. Black infants suffered disproportionately, with 11% increase in mortality compared to a 5% increase for white infants. Deaths from congenital malformations and birth defects rose nearly 11%, suggesting that bans prevented termination of pregnancies with severe fetal abnormalities. So we've given you the name of one who clearly died, and there's another 2 of people who almost died because of that. Is that enough for you, Chad, or do you need more people who have died from their inability to be able to obtain an abortion in situations like this, where the life of the patient is at risk? Kimchi says mothers living in states that banned abortion nearly 2 times as likely to die during pregnancy, childbirth, or soon after giving birth compared to mothers living in supportive states where abortion is legal. There were 6 women's life fighted away in Ohio, says Susie. Women's risk of maternal health in Texas was 150% higher than in California. Josh Sees goes, Chad, I had to take my wife for a DNC. How about you? I also had to do that one time after a miscarriage, but we didn't have a case where the miscarriage, was delayed. It just happened, and the pregnancy was terminated rather early in the pregnancy, and as such, there was no need to argue, even though this was actually before these laws ever even took place. But I can only imagine what would have happened. We would have had to drive to another state to make sure that my wife could have gotten the care that she would have needed. If Louisiana would have said no, we would have driven across state lines to make sure that we could have protected her life so that she could be alive for her children. Chad, my wife and I went through IVF and lost the first pregnancy. Yeah, but still, that didn't happen when these bans were taking place. Of course, you live in Illinois. I don't think you see such bans in Illinois, but these bans take place in other red states, and the people are having worse health outcomes because of these laws. These laws need to go away, and the only reason for these laws are, A, Donald Trump became president and was able to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices who made a shitty ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson, as worded by Alito, who is the dumbest motherfucker on the fucking Supreme Court, currently at least, if not of all time. And now conservative states either had bills already in the hopper ready to go, or they passed them pretty soon thereafter, and as such, more people's lives are at risk. So fuck off with the idea that conservatives are pro-life. They're not. It's a party. It's a death cult. MAGA is a death cult. It's just that simple. Trust at every game. I don't want anyone's life to be lost. Accelerationism has always been a garbage idea pushed by privileged folks, rich white women like Susan Sarandon who won't be affected, or they can just pull a Clooney and fuck off to France. Pretty much. I think it's letting Alito off easy by calling him dumb. I don't think he's dumb. He's just a fucking asshole. I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of assholes on the Supreme Court, but his rulings, as we've discussed on the show, because it wasn't just Dobbs v. Jackson that was poorly written. If you go on YouTube and watch the videos that I've made responding to Supreme Court rulings, and specifically responding to Dobbs v. Jackson, and when it was leaked, you would see that I was like, this ruling is so poorly written, it's so badly written, that I bet you Alito wrote like these other bills, like Salinas v. Texas, Lilly Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire, Burrell versus Hobby Lobby, and I was right that he wrote all 3 of them. That's how bad he writes rulings. His rulings are so poorly worded, it's ridiculous. And I have said that Scalia was clearly smart. He was maybe an evil genius, and he put the evil in evil genius, but at least I could read a Scalia ruling and be like, okay, he wrote this intelligently. I disagree with his assertions in most cases. I mean, I did agree with him when he ruled in the DC in Heller, the DC Heller case, when he said that the government absolutely had the ability to do regulation on gun ownership. It just couldn't be that the ban on regulations because of the Second Amendment, you could still pass laws that would regulate gun ownership. So he basically said that. So I could agree with that. And I agreed with Heller overall. Even Obama agreed with Heller. But Scalia, was right once every blue moon, I would say. I mean, I still disagreed with him. I mean, he argued in his dissent for Lawrence v. Texas that it would create gay marriage would become a reality based off of what happened in Lawrence v. Texas. I mean, I guess he was right, but he was complaining about it. I was like, oh, that's a feature, not a bug in my mind. But still, right, it is what it is, right? I'm sorry, Donald, that's your line. It is what it is. Thank you, Donald. So, if there are plenty, Chad goes, give it up for adoption. Plenty of people willing to adopt. Are they? Are people willing to adopt? Is there nobody in foster care right now? Is the foster care system completely empty? Is there nobody who's currently a born child waiting to be adopted, waiting to be picked up by a foster family? No. Then I'd have to sit here and respectfully say that that's not a realistic ask. You can't tell people that they should give up children for adoption when we have plenty of children who currently are waiting to be adopted and or to be put into foster care. So I disagree with you 100% on that one. Yes, obviously it's overflowing, Susie. And it's And again, it is not the responsibility of a human individual to be to allow a couple or even a single person who wants a kid to use their body to be able to have a kid. It's not that person's responsibility. If they want to find somebody who's willing to gestate for them, fine, do it. If someone's willing to agree to gestate for them, fine, that's awesome. It's great that they're willing to do that for them. But nobody should be guilted into not terminating a pregnancy simply because of the fact that some other person wants a kid. Their body autonomy should not come, or their desire to have a kid should not come into play when discussing body autonomy and whether or not somebody should be able to be, not forced to gestate till term. Simple as that. Yes, nobody, and again, nobody is adopting stillborn babies. That's the other good point, 250 kilo. There's, in the case of this woman that we talked about just now, in the case of Kate Cox in Texas, in the case of many other people that are dealing with, pregnancies where it's miscarrying, but it hasn't completely miscarried, and as such, you still have a detectable heartbeat, even though it's, fading away. Nobody's going to be able to adopt that fetus. Nobody's going to be able to adopt the corpse that comes afterwards. So if nobody can adopt it, then whether or not they should be able to adopt shouldn't come into play at all. But I would say it shouldn't come into play at all, regardless of what the health of the fetus is, whatever the health of the embryo is, whatever the health of the patient is. If a person doesn't want to gestate, they shouldn't be forced to gestate. That is the state acting tyrannically to force you to be a baby incubator. Simple as that. So, yeah, people who want a child because they don't have one don't want a heroin baby. That's true too. But there are other people, other types of babies that people, look, I've seen, what was it, What's My Line or whatever it was, the show with Groucho Marx from way back in the day. There's a great video where he's interviewing this couple, and this couple has adopted 8 kids or something. And he was basically showing and they were a white couple. They adopted black kids. They adopted white kids. I'm not sure of every single heritage of child that they adopted, but they put their money where their mouth is when it came to adopting kids who needed to be adopted. But there are plenty of people who are going to be like, yeah, I want to adopt a baby, but they'd be like, but I don't want to adopt one of the darker ones. I only want to adopt one of the white ones because I want a white baby. I'm sure they would have plenty of people like that too. That's why I don't agree with the whole idea of, we shouldn't have government giving money to people. We should just rely on charity and let people donate to charity and have charity do the work, because charities can, again, pick and choose who they help and who they don't help. Salvation Army being one example of a charity that is going to choose to not help certain people because they disagree with the lifestyles of those people. So no, I'm not going to sit here and argue for that at all one bit. So what else? What else are we going to talk about today? There's all Pistol Pete Hegseth going up against Mark Kelly because he didn't like the fact that Mark Kelly stated the fact. He didn't like that Senator Kelly stated a fact that troops are under no requirement, and in fact are required. They're not in no requirement to follow illegal orders, and they're also required to not follow illegal orders. And Kelly and other people said exactly that. And so what did Pistol Pete Hegseth do today? He decided he was going to say that he was going to reduce his military rank, which as such would reduce his military pension. And you even have Republican folks who are coming out and saying that's bad. Susan Collins from Maine, who has jurisdiction over the Pentagon's budget as chair of the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee, said it's not appropriate. Get it? She appropriates, and she says it's not appropriate to target Kelly's retired rank or pension because the video urging members of military to defy orders was viewed as unlawful. I don't think that's appropriate, Collins said on Monday of the proceedings Hegseth announced earlier in the day against Kelly, a retired Navy captain who flew 39 combat missions as a naval aviator and 4 space missions as an astronaut. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, called the Pentagon's censure of Kelly ridiculous, even though he did strongly criticize the Democrats' video urging service members to ignore orders they view as unjust or illegal. He goes, the video is rage bait, but my gosh, he is a U.S. senator who operates in a political world. Tillis told HuffPost. I think it has a chilling effect on speech, and I've got a real problem with it, and I think Hegseth overreached. Senator Mike Rounds, Republican of South Dakota, member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said that Kelly will have a chance to defend himself during what he said would be an adjudication process. My understanding is that there will be an adjudication process and that we should let the adjudication process work its way through. No, you shouldn't. There should be no adjudication process because there should be no process. Why? Because this shouldn't even be a thing in the first place. But you know, this is why I believe firmly that this administration doesn't give a crap about the military either. If they can do this to Kelly, they can do this to anybody else. And they're using Kelly as an example to put the fear of the actions of the Secretary of Defense, because fuck the Secretary of War, it's the Secretary of Defense. And fuck the War Department, it's the Department of Defense. He's using this not just as retribution against Kelly for saying something to the soldiers that was a factually true statement that they are required to not follow illegal orders, but they're going to use this to say, look, if you dare challenge your president, if you dare challenge this administration, we are going to punish you in your pocketbook. We're going to punish you in your wallet. We're going to take money away from you, which absolutely is 100% terrible. And if you're a conservative, you should be against this. What do you say, Chad? Do you believe that Hegseth should be taking away Mark Kelly's salary? Are you going to find an excuse for that? Or do you think this is an overreach by Hegseth and, as a result, by the Trump administration? Of course, Deb Fischer, Republican from Nebraska, who is a member of the Armed Services Committee, says, so I don't know enough to have a reaction. You should be paying more attention if you're a member of the Armed Services Committee and you know, things are going on like the Secretary of Defense is trying to take money away from a veteran. And then Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, Republican, says the disciplinary matter is between Kelly and the Pentagon. No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be between Kelly and the Pentagon. It should be. All of us should be speaking out on it, and all of us should be telling the Department of Defense to go fuck itself for this and other things that they're doing. She goes, I'll just let them sort that out. Hegseth announced Monday the Defense Department had initiated the administrative proceedings against Kelly that could reduce his retirement rank and pension because of the video. Hegseth said in a post on social media, accused Kelly of releasing a reckless and seditious video that was clearly intended to undermine good order military discipline. No, fuck off, you asshole. He was trying to tell people who are, you know, serving in the military that they don't have to follow your damn orders if you order them to do something that's unconstitutional. If you order them to do something illegal, they don't need to follow it. And maybe you should have said, instead of fighting what Kelly said, you should be sitting there and saying, Kelly was right, you don't have to follow illegal orders, and we're going to make sure that the orders we give you are all legal. But that's not what they want. They want to be able to give illegal orders and have them be followed without question, because that's what tyrants do. Because that's what this country is now being run by. A tyrant and all of his sycophants. Ridiculous. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Keg's breath isn't qualified to tie Mark Kelly's shoes. Exactly, Big Hook. Hey, Petrazi, good to see you. Roxanne, good to see you. See, I'm not conservative either, but it's an overreach by Hegseth. There you go. But again, it's an overreach by Hegseth. Is this what you voted for? Did you vote for this? Again, it's another one of those things. So, anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I also wanted to see this. There's this other Mike Lee. So there is a law. This is from Mike Lee, senator from Utah's own Senate page, lee.senate.gov. Patriots of the Caribbean. Mike Lee bill authorizes American privateers to seize cartel assets with president's approval. Senator Mike Lee of Utah introduced legislation today that will allow private entities to stop drug cartel smuggling and violence. The cartel Markin Reprisal Authorization Act, CMRAA. I mean, again, name these things better, be more creative. As provided under the Constitution, to commission American operators under letters of marque to seize cartel property and persons on land at sea. Representative Tim Burchett, Republican of Tennessee, introduced the House version of the legislation. The Constitution provides for letter of marque and reprisal against a tool against enemies of the United States. Cartels have replaced corsairs in the modern era, but we can still give private American citizens and their businesses a stake in the fight against these murderous foreign criminals. So is Donald Trump Jr. going to form himself become a privateer, and is he going to go and seize some cocaine from the supposed cartel shipments and maybe, again, take a little off the top for himself? They push millions of dollars in fentanyl into our country. Of course, most of it comes by land and not by sea, but of course they're going to glorify and the whole idea of, oh, we're going to be out on the open sea, Captain, and we're going to take the drugs from these cartel folks and seize them for ourselves, lads. It's time to get creative about how we face these threats. These cartels present serious risk. Of course, again, they're not doing it by sea. They're mostly coming by land. The Cartel Marque and Reprisal Authorization Act authorizes and commissions the President of the United States to issue letters of marque and reprisal according to the judgment of the President. That's great. The judgment of the President. Let's see if we can see what the word of the legislation is. A bill to authorize the President of the United States to issue letters of marque and reprisal to respect to acts of aggression against the United States by a member of a cartel or a member of a cartel-linked organization or any conspirator associated with the cartel, and for other purposes, of course, for other purposes. Blah, blah, blah. Authority of the President. The President of the United States is authorized and requested to commission under officially issued letters of marque and reprisal so many of privately armed and equipped persons and entities as in a judgment of the President the service may require, with suitable instructions to the leaders thereof to employ all means reasonably necessary to seize outside the geographic boundaries of the United States and its territories the person and property of any individual the President determines as a member of a cartel-linked organization. So what could go wrong with that? What could possibly go wrong with that? Oh, I don't know. I mean, considering the fact that this president has already allowed his military to bomb and murder people in boats without even proving that they have drugs in the first place, and then also make excuses for the actions of the military when they bombed two people who were sitting on top of a capsized ship. Now we're going to privatize the murder and allow private citizens to go murder supposed cartel members as well. You know, again, am I going to cry if a cartel member loses their drugs, loses their money, and potentially loses their lives? No, I'm not going to cry if that happens. However, I will, say that this is a very dangerous thing to do and will absolutely be abused and will absolutely go wrong. I have no faith whatsoever that if this bill becomes a law, I have no faith whatsoever that this will go well for this country. We will be made more of a laughingstock at the ability of us to now, I guess, create our own little set of privateers, our own little pirates of Trump's ass, if you will. So, anyway. See, from what does Kelly have to defend himself? He did nothing wrong. Well, he did not. We all know he did nothing wrong, but Hegseth says he did, and that's of course the person who's responsible for making such decisions, which of course is only being done, in my opinion, to put the fear of losing income into the hearts and minds of people who are serving in the military for daring to think that they might be able to act constitutionally, that they might actually be able to follow the oaths that they gave as becoming members of the military to only follow legal orders. It is what it is. Let's see. I didn't realize there was live today. I'm so stressed out and tired of everything going on. I just played and beat old point-and-click flash game based on that movie, The Room. Nice. Women are already forced by society to have kids they don't want. What happens when you force kids they don't want? Exactly. Let's see. whatever, you're tearing me apart, conservative. You're tearing us apart when I'm with you. I'd say why we now have a lawless POTUS, exactly 250 kilo ohms. Let's do one more thing. I did at least one more video that I wanted to watch. We're probably not going to take phone calls today, just simply because of the fact that a little tired today. And also, what did Chad say about the quality of the lives? Did I miss a comment? I guess what happens when I pay more attention to what I'm talking about than what I'm talking about. Chad goes, yes, I voted for wild shit. I don't agree with the happen. I mean, come on, it's Trump. That's the problem. We shouldn't have a loose cannon in the White House that can cause wild shit to happen. Like, that's... Do you see why? I mean, granted, you live in Illinois, so your vote mattered just as much as my vote did. So, yes, you voted for Trump, but your vote didn't matter in the Electoral College, just like my vote didn't matter in the Electoral College. So, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily excuse supporting, because as you continue, every single vote that he gets continues to make him look like he is justified in what he's doing when he's not justified in most of the things that he does. See, it's like everything Trump and his sycophants do, which is financially punish everyone, like as in his lawsuits. Exactly. All right, one other thing I wanted to watch today, or do today, is we've probably seen this video before. I think we have, but since tomorrow is January 6th, the 5-year anniversary of the attack on the Capitol. And hey, Trisha, good to see you. Let's just go ahead and record this one too, shall we? So we have, again, tomorrow is January 6th. You might be watching this today or sometime afterwards, but as we're recording this, it's January 5th, so the day before 5 years after the attack on the Capitol. And you still have conservatives out there saying, oh, it wasn't violent. Oh, these protesters weren't violent. It was a day of peace, like Donald Trump says. It was a day of peace. These were peaceful people who just wandered around a building. And I say nay, nay to that, because here is one example of many of the videos that are available on YouTube, and we're only going to watch a short one, but we're going to go through and just, ask conservatives, where's the peace here? Where's the peace here? Okay. Peter Navarro releases 36-page report alleging election fraud, more than sufficient to swing victory to Trump, blah, 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 blah. Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there, will be wild. Why this wasn't viewed by Trump supporters as a call for violence, a call for action on behalf of the people that then marched on the Capitol and attacked cops, pushed down barricades, destroyed property, etc. Because again, people will make excuses for Trump because they never want to admit that they were wrong for voting for Trump. But let's continue.
Hey, brother, we're boots on the ground here. We're moving on to Capitol now. I'll give you a boots on the ground update here in a few.
Multiple Capitol entries! Multiple Capitol entries!
So, they're saying multiple Capitol injuries. That was a police officer. Meanwhile, otherwise they're saying boots on the ground, and they're going towards the Capitol. And here's a bunch of people, red hats, MAGA flags, whatever, at a barricade. And there's a police officer trying to push the barricade back, but there's a bunch of other people trying to push the barricade forward. Are you telling me that this isn't violence, conservatives? It says area closed, and there's police officers trying to prevent the people from crossing this barricade, but here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 people right here in this shot, in this paused frame of this video of individuals trying to break through these barricades that the police are trying to stop them from doing. Take the building. That's a peaceful word, right? That's words said in peace. Take the building. No, that's not peaceful. they're not violent towards police. They're saying, fuck you, police. Whatever happened to, you know, all lives matter, or blue lives matter, so to speak? Didn't they say that blue lives matter? But as we've said on this show, blue lives only matter when blue lives are taking black lives. When blue lives are trying to stop them from perform acts of domestic terrorism, they then say, fuck the police. They don't give a shit about what happens to police.
Even Trump, we're still taking metal, sharpened objects, missiles, to include bottles and rocks, and hand-thrown chemical-grade fireworks.
But that's peaceful, right? It's a day of love, like Donald Trump said, right? Conservatives, day of love. Oh, and they were just, I'm sure, that was just water being sprayed on the police officer there, right? Not like, you know, bear spray, not anything else that might be toxic or harmful or hurtful to them. That was just water, right? As they're, you know, marching towards and being violent towards these police officers. That clearly wasn't water. That was clearly some sort of chemical spray that individual was spraying towards the cops.
Effectively a riot.
1349 hours declaring it a riot.
Is that peaceful? Where did they get that shield from? Oh, they took it from a police officer and now they're using it to break a window. How peaceful of them. Again, now all these conservatives that are trying to saying that these people should have been pardoned are ridiculous, and they're just aiding and abetting domestic terrorists. Aiding and abetting terrorism should be viewed as treason. And what's the punishment for treason, right? Oh, and they were invited in, right? What cops are invited in here? Yes, there is a video that shows 1 or 2 cops opening a barricade and telling the people to come on, because some cops were complicit and participated in the violence against other cops, and aided and abetted some folks to cross barricades and then go attack cops, destroy property, etc. That means that magically all of the cops let them in? I mean, I understand that's conservative logic. I understand why conservatives think that way, because again, if one cop did it, it meant all cops did it, right? But no, clearly there was a few cops who sat there and did let the people in. The other ones were trying to prevent them from invading the Capitol because they were actually wanting to do their jobs. But hey, you know, it was peaceful, right?
Okay, guys.
And, you know, smashing against the door. How peaceful of they? How peaceful of them, right?
Guys, apparently this tip of the spear has entered the Capitol building.
The tip of the spear, i.e. that was communication from the people who were rioting, from the people who were protesting. The tip of the spear. Looks and sounds so peaceful. Pushing their way around and past police officers, pushing and shoving a police officer, that's so totally peaceful. That looks so orderly and just, they're tourists, right? We were told that they were tourists. Maybe it was like tourists, like, you know, George W. Bush said tourists, and maybe the difference between terrorists and tourists is just because of how George W. Bush pronounces the word. I don't know, but this is not tourism that's going on right now. This is violence.
If I give this up, they're going to have to run next to at least this Capitol we can defend. We gotta hold what we have. Take your pens off.
Yeah. The fuck?
Take your pens off.
And there's a dude just sitting there, you know, trying to stop them from going through, and this is right before, I think, terrorist Barbie got shot. That wasn't peaceful. That was assault. Yeah, it wasn't battery, but it was assault. And then this officer, the conservatives, be like, oh, see, he's just leading them on a tour through the Capitol, right? That's what's going to happen here. Just leading them through a tour through the Capitol. No, he was leading them away from the politicians to protect them and doing his job and leading them to an area where more officers might be to be able to have better protection. But look, they're sitting here and they're walking towards a police officer that's telling them to not walk towards them. This is more assaulting of a police officer. Again, it's not battery, but it should be considered assault. And Donald Trump should have never pardoned anybody who is in this video.
Where the fuck are they? Where's the 50?
Yeah, where the F are they, right?
1033. I repeat, 1033. West front of the Capitol. We've been pranked and we've lost the lives.
And then putting that in a tunnel where cops are, that's peaceful, right? That's not harming them. That's not attacking cops, right? Right?
Lock the shields! Lock them together! Lock them together!
If they were being peaceful, you wouldn't have to lock shields together either. If they were being peaceful, you wouldn't have to form a line to prevent them from pushing them over and running them through.
Patriots, run! Jimmy, get him to the back! Get him to the back! Get him to the back! Let's get some fresh faces up front!
And there's the police officer having his mask physically removed by a protester. That's not violent, right? And all those people going heave-ho, all those people pushing against the police officer, every single one of them is committing an act of violence against each and every police officer there. Every single person should have been charged with multiple counts and should have been found guilty of them and not pardoned. But were they? They were pardoned. Why? Because Donald Trump supports his domestic terrorists. That's peaceful, right? That's peaceful going on right there? Is that peaceful there, conservatives? Look at that swing. Was that swing? Was that peaceful right there? Somebody swinging whatever, it was a hockey stick or whatever that was? That might have actually been the one guy that was on Jeff's show all the time. That's peaceful, right? Bullshit. Oh, there's another one. They're coming for him. What, to give him cookies? No. Again, more threats of violence. And again, hang Mike Pence. They're saying to hang the vice president. That's peaceful, right? How many people are shouting to hang the vice president? So peaceful.
They've got the gallows set outside this Capitol building. It's time to start fucking using them.
But that's peaceful, right? That's peaceful?
Start making a list! Put all those names down!
They're making a list. They're checking it twice. They're a bunch of assholes who are not nice. MAGA hats are coming to town.
We start hunting them down one by one!
Start hunting them down one by one. That's peaceful, right?
Mobilize in your own cities, your own counties, storm your own Capitol buildings, and take down every one of these corrupt motherfuckers. So we fucking need to have 30,000 guns on here. That's true.
They want 30,000 guns for the next trip. So there you go. There is the peaceful the peaceful protest, the day of love, as the conservatives often want to call it. And again, earlier today I had somebody who was like, there was no harm. They didn't attack police officers. Yeah, F off. That's why I found this one specifically, to make sure that we could just be reminded that they attacked police officers. And if you voted for Donald Trump in 2024, you voted for the person who pardoned those violent protesters. Just saying. Let's see. We're still on abortion in the chat, though. So they must have all been on a crack or something. What? Let's see. You want irresponsible people to have more responsibility. That means you want people to fail in life, Chad. Something's wrong with your brain. See, Roxanne, I never thought early 2000s would be the height of freedom that we would ever go backwards and have to fear our rights. I mean, yeah. Let's see. I don't believe Josh was saying that somebody should have an abortion if they're poor, but somebody should have the option to have an abortion if they don't feel that they're capable of being able to support another child. That's the difference. It's not poor people should have abortions. It's people who are poor should have the ability to have an abortion. But then it's not even about poor people. Everybody should have the ability to have an abortion. There's no form of birth control that is 100% effective. Not a single form of birth control is 100% effective. And you'd be like, well, Dan, what about abstinence? Nope, because you can't control if somebody's going to sexually assault you. If you can't control whether or not somebody's going to sexually assault you, you can have all the abstinence in the world. If they do, and they get you pregnant that way, well, guess what? Abstinence didn't work for you, now did it? So we need to make sure that abortion is safe and legal and fine. Make it rare. Not that I'm not necessarily worried about the rareness of it, but the ideal number of abortions is 0. I will firmly say that the ideal abortion number is 0, but that doesn't happen when you ban them. That happens when you increase access to birth control, increase access to other forms of contraception, make sure that people understand, how horrible it is to violate somebody's rights, so that, you reduce the number of sexual assaults and make the number of sexual assaults and rapes down to 0 as well. And also you make sure that you increase the healthcare system so that people can have better health outcomes. That's how you reduce abortions. You don't reduce abortions by banning them. You don't reduce abortions by defunding Planned Parenthood. Again, when Jeb Bush defunded Planned Parenthood when he was governor of Florida, the abortion rate went up for the duration of his term. When John Hickenlooper was governor of Colorado, they provided universal access to all forms of contraception, including IUD. And then teen unwanted pregnancy rates dropped, teen pregnancy rates dropped, and as such, the overall number of abortions dropped in the state as well. Because if you want to solve and eliminate abortions, enact democratic policies. If you want to just punish people for abortions while actually not doing anything to reduce the number of abortions, enact Republican policies. And also, as we've seen, if you want people to die from their harmful pregnancies, their risky pregnancies, you vote for Republicans as well, because that's what ends up happening. And Kimchi, you're 100% right. Force is the key word there. Kimchi says, if you want to force those who are already struggling to have another obstacle, force is the key word. Exactly. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and see if there's anything else that I've said there. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily say I'm not doing many 3-hour shows. I mean, I'm happy to do 3, 4, 5-hour shows even if I need to. Clearly, I wasn't planning on going live at all on Saturday, and then Trump invaded Venezuela, and we did a 3-hour show just talking about all of the bullshit that was going on with Donald Trump and his press conference, etc. So, sometimes I think spending too much time, I would like to take more calls, and I would like more people to call in as well. I mean, I love Big Hook. I think Big Hook did leave the chat and went to go shopping or whatever. We love Big Hook. We love him when Big Hook calls, but I would like to have a more variety of calls. I would love to challenge conservatives to call in and say, hey, debate me. I would be more than happy to debate you. I bring it. Welcome. Bring it on. I welcome it. But, we we have very few of those who do call in. I mean, Chad has called in and other people have called in or whatever. But anyway, let's see. Oh, let's see. Some Capitol Police were herding them away from Congress. Yeah, I did say that. Just the tip sounds like Steve Bannon. Turing test fail. I still find it impressive Capitol Police didn't open fire. Should be required viewing in grade school. Exactly. Look, you know when the Capitol Police might have opened fire is if it would have been Biden who lost instead of Trump, and if you had black people protesting at the Capitol, I would guarantee you that the Capitol Police and Trump would have ordered the Capitol Police, and anybody else would have had the National Guard there, and he would have said open fire, because he wanted to shoot protesters who were protesting when he just wanted to go give a camera op outside of a church. You think he's not going to shoot protesters who are protesting the fact that he won? Absolutely. We've already seen that he wants to use more force than he should be legally allowed to use. So anyway, let us go ahead, and we're gonna probably end the show today. We'll be back Wednesday for your Wednesday show. Wednesday and Thursday we'll be back here, 8 p.m. Central, here on Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right. Thank each and every one of you for joining. Thank you very much, and we will head out with a couple of songs as we normally do. Again, if you want to support the show, I'll give the link to the Liberal Dan store so you can buy t-shirts. The links are also in YouTube videos as well. You go to the bottom of this live stream on YouTube, you will absolutely be able to see several of the shirts that are sale, including the FDT shirt, the Man of La MAGA shirt, and the Al Gore Needs More Rhythm shirt. So you can support the show by buying t-shirts that way. You can share my videos, especially if you share the video that I put up about how good Opus Clip has been for me. That might actually help out if other people start, using my affiliate link to get the Opus Clip product. But you could also Venmo Liberal Dan. You can go to liberaldan.com and click the Buy Me a Cider button to get to help me on a individual case-by-case basis. You can be a Patreon, patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way gets you there. But again, the most important thing to do is to like, comment, share videos. Comment on them specifically, respond to other people's comments, get the conversations going, help the algorithm, because again, Al Gore needs more rhythm. So till Wednesday night, I look forward to seeing you all then. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Have a great one. Peace.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, I don't flip. Had Biden done it, phone numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
They wrote it in the laws, ink still bleeds. Treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake. But the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect. But they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap. Rights rolled back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. This ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still. Just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just stay on pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Bands in the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright. Cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight. Gilead's here, ain't no grace. And those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Of documents stacked floor to the wall. Top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Encampments downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag. but he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.